In this lecture, I will talk about the shear center of a section. This is very important in connection with bending of the beam. So first you remember the definition of the shear center. So shear center is defined as the point on the beam section where the load is applied. So this one is your definition. Definition is shear center is defined as the point on which the beam section where the load is applied and then no twisting is produced. So for example, if you take a this one is your beam type section and loads are acting here. This one is the load and here some loads are acting. So due to action of load, the beam may bend. So according to the shear center, the load is applied to the beam section and there will be no twisting is produced. No twisting is produced. For example, on symmetrical section. For example, a symmetrical section. So this one is a square section. So square section is a symmetrical section. Then you applied some load here, then this point is known as CG of the section and this point is also known as shear center C. If so symmetrical section, you just remember on symmetrical section the shear center is the center of gravity of the cross section. So circular section, square section, rectangular section, equal arm eye section, all are the symmetrical section in which the shear center coincide with the center of gravity. So next you can have a cross section of I type, C type, L type. You try to consider bending of such beam of such cross section. For example, you take a I section. This one is your I section. Symmetrical I section. I section having equal arm. Mean upper side is equals to lower side. So in this case, if you assume the shear force is acting in this direction, then shear stresses which are acting inside the cross section mean this one is your wave, this one is your top flange, this one is your bottom half. This point is known as CG of the cross section. Then the shear stresses are maximum at the center. If it away, then the shear stresses are decreases. Similarly, here some shear stresses are acting. So this shear stress and this shear stress equal magnitude. This shear stress and this shear stress has equal magnitude. Similarly, here maximum shear stress, then it decreases away from the center. Similarly, in this case, this one is your shear stresses acting. So you take this one is your F2 force in this side, this one is your F1. F1, M2 are the resultant forces. Similarly here F2, here F1. These are the shear stresses acting on bottom flange and top flange. So in this case, the net force that is F1 minus F2 is equals to 0 means the magnitude of F1 is equals to magnitude of F2. Similarly, in bottom flange, magnitude of F1 is equals to magnitude of the F2. So in this case, the net force is equals to 0. And it is a balance type of cross section. If you take a C type of cross section, this one is your C type of cross section, this one is your C type of cross section. So it is symmetrical about only one axis, symmetrical about only x axis. So in this case, This one is your CG point, and shear forces are acting like this, and here the maximum shear stress acting at the CG. So again, this one is your C section. Then let us assume V is your shear force acting like this. Then the stress plus diagram is like this. And here F1, here also F1. So it is a couple like structure. So in upper flange F1, in lower flange F2. So it is a couple like structure. So in this case, some twisting will be there. So in this case, how we can remove twisting or avoid twisting? Then you put a load at the shear center. Then it become balanced. Then effect of C. Next one is the effect of loading at the shear center. So see in this diagram, this one is your one I type of section. First diagram, this diagram showing position before loading, and the dotted line shows position after loading. Then whenever you put a load here, then the displacement should be downward. It may be clockwise, it may be anti-clockwise, but the deflection is downward or not. So this one is your effect of loading at the shear center for symmetrical type of cross section. If loads acting on unsymmetrical section, so this one is your unsymmetrical section. This one is your initial position of the beam before loading. This one is your position of the beam after loading. You can compare this one. Then advantages of loading the beam at the shear center. So what are the advantages if the shear center acting on the beam? So the beam translate only downward. So first advantage is the beam translate downward. So this one is your downward force. Then the standard deflection formula can be used to calculate the amount of deflection. The standard deflection formula can be used to calculate the amount of deflection. So the standard deflection formula for cantilever, for cantilever with acting some bending. For example, you take this one is your cantilever beam, and here a movement is acting. So in this case, the deflection is how much? M L square divided by 2EI. This one is your deflection. Similarly, this one is your cantilever type of beam, and some loads are acting W. So here the deflection is WLQ by 3EI. These are the deflection formula. So second advantage is the standard deflection formula can be used to calculate the amount of deflection. Fourth one is your, this one is your fourth advantage is the flexural formula can be used to calculate the stress of the beam. Flexural formula or bending formula, that is M by I is equals to sigma by Y is equals to E by R. This one is your advantages loading of the beam at the shear center. So next one is your flexural axis or bending axis. So flexural axis or bending axis. So flexural axis is a longitudinal axis through which the bending load must pass, so that the there will be no twisting takes place. So this one is your bending axis. So the diagram, this one is your a unsymmetrical bending. This diagram shows a unsymmetrical bending. So in this case, figure ABCD, A point, B point, C point, and D point. C, A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. See the diagram A, B, C, D. Which one is? This one is a plane containing the principal centroidal axis of inertia. And see another plane A, B dash, C dash, D dash is the plane containing the load. So both are not coincide with each other. So this one is your unsymmetrical type of bending. So which axis is known as flexural axis? C, A point and D point. A and D is known as flexural axis. Then classification on the use, or you can say classification on the basis of symmetry. So first one is your double symmetrical section, second one is your single symmetrical section, third one is your unsymmetrical section. So double symmetrical section means which the section which is having symmetric about both axes, means one is your rectangular section, square section, circular section, equal arm I section. This one is a double symmetrical section. Single symmetrical section, it is both symmetrical about either x-axis or y-axis. You can say channel section, you can say T section, you can say I section with one equal arm, means top flange is not equal to bottom flange. Next, significance of the shear center. So significance of the shear center, first significance is the shear center which is used for thin parts such as channel, angle, I section, which having are less resistance to torsion but high resistance to fracture. Second one is your to prevent a twisting of any cross section of the beam, load must be applied through the shear center. So this one is your significance. Then shear flow. The shear flow, what is the meaning of shear flow? The shear flow, the distribution of shear stresses inside the cross section. So the shear center is a position of the shear flow resultant force if the thin walled beam is subjected to the pure shear. So see here I am showing different sections. I section, this one is a rectangular section, T section, C section, circular section. So Y is your shear for acting at the section. Then inside you can see the inside arrow mark are the shear stresses distributed inside the beam. So these are the shear flow diagram. Next one is your mathematical equation for shear center. So you just remember one expression, F1 is equals to integration of tau dA is equals to integration of FA y bar divided by IT, where tau is your shear stress at any point, F is your vertical shear force, A is your area of the cross section, I is your moment of inertia of the entire cross section with respect to the neutral axis, T is your thickness of the area, and y bar is your distance from center of gravity to the whole section to the center of gravity to the respective section. So you can see another problem I've solved here. So shear center for channel section. So channel section means C section. So this one is your a diagram for channel section. So here upper one is your top flange, bottom one is your bottom flange. This one is your wave. So in this case, see upper side showing the side of the upper flange is your B1 and thickness of the flange. And thickness of the flange means thickness of the top flange and bottom flange is T, small t, and W, small w. W is your width of the wave, and H is your distance from the upper to lower flange, means the center from the upper flange to the lower flange. And here one is your F1 and another is your F2. So F1, F2 and F3. F3 is for wave. F1 and F2, F1, F2 and F3 be the shear force in three legs of the channel. Three legs means one is your top, one is your bottom, and other is your wave section. So here F1 is equals to F2 because the magnitude of F1 and F2 is equals but of here in this direction, here in this direction, opposite direction, the distribution of the shear flow. So how you can calculate the shear center for the channel section? So F is your shear force acting, vertical shear force. F is your vertical shear force, and Fr is your resultant shear force, because whenever acting shear force acting downward, then how it get balanced, then you should put some Fr for that is resultant shear stress. So put the expression how you can calculate F1 and F2. If you calculate F1, then F1 is equals to F2 to become F1 is equals to F2. So we have the expression F1 is equals to integration of tau dA. So integration of F bar divided by IT into dA. So it varies from 0 to B1 because you have to calculate which section. Only this section, channel section. Only the top flange. So here you consider a small section. This one is your small section having dimension. One side is your dz and t is your thickness. And how much distance? The small section is situated at a z distance from in this side. So it varies from 0 to B1. So C, area of this section, area of this small section, area is A is equals to T into Z. This one is your area, mean this one is your small section. This dimension is dz. This one is your thickness T, and this one is your Z. So here area is how much? Now Z into T, Tz. So dA is how much? dA is equals to T into dz. So I have written here area is equals to Tz, dA is equals to Tdz, and y bar is equals to y bar is distance from the CG of the whole section. This one is your CG of the whole section, so CG of the respective section. So this one is your h by 2. H by 2. Y bar is equals to h by 2. See here, this one I have written here y bar is equals to h by 2. So put all value. So a equals to tz into y bar h by 2, dA is equals to tz. Then this one is your value f into t square into h divided by it into 2 integration of 0 to b1 to integration of z dz. So how much the integration of z dz? It varies from 0 to b1. So this one is your final value. fth divided by 2I into z square by 2, it varies from 0 to. Then the final value of f1 is equals to fth b1 square divided by 4I. Then the moment of inertia of the whole section. The moment of inertia of the whole section, the parallel axis theorem you put. So that is parallel axis theorem. I xx is equals to I yy plus a h bar square. So I yy is equals to, that is bdq by 12. So in this wave section, base is w, depth is h. So w hq by 12 plus area is b1 into t. So 2 into b1 into t. So 2, why? Because one is upper section, one is your lower section. So this one is your value. I is equals to whq by 12 plus 2b1t into s square by h by 2 whole square. Then put all value. Then final value of f1 is equals to this one. So f1 is equals to f2. So I have written f1 is equals to this value is equals to f2. So next one is your, see the taking movement about point D. So this one is your D point. Taking movement about at point D. So first you have to calculate those forces are acting. One is your F1 force and another is your F2. You take F or Fr and F3 becomes 0 because it passes through this point. So one is your F1, another is your F2, and another is your F1. So clockwise movement is positive, anti-clock movement is negative. So C minus F into E, this one is your anti-clockwise movement. F1 into h by 2, h by 2 is your distance. Similarly plus F2 into h by 2. So F1 F into E is equals to this much. So F1 into h by 2 plus F2 into h by 2, 2 F1 into h by 2. So 2 to cancel is equals to F1 into h. So F into E is equals to F1 into H. So you put the value of F1. So how much? This one is your value. So F1, F cancel. Finally you have E is equals to B1 divided by 2 plus WH divided by 3V1T. So this one is your shear center. So see the figure. So this one is your figure. I'm showing here E is your shear center. So thank you.